And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie, or TVS as it's sometimes referred to, the Vobes Show. Yes, TVS, as Steve Pilfold has already noticed, was Television South in the old days, but that's no longer there. It's now Meridian, if Meridian is still working. And Coast to Coast was a programme, but I am by the coast. I am in a Victorian house at the foot of the South Downs by the edge of the English Channel, which as yet here in Worthing has not flooded, although I gather from everywhere else in the UK there are floods and people are kayaking down the main roads. Harriet, my ex-girlfriend in Shrewsbury, said to me that any minute the bank is going to burst on the River Severn where she is, and she says already the roads are covered in water, and she saw somebody in a dinghy going down, and I said to her, well, you've still got my coracle in your shed. If you get flooded out, use that. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Vobes Show. I'm Richard Vobes, the mad fool that is the host of this crazy nonsense that we call fun. And today's show comes on a wet, miserable day, but with very little content. I have very little to offer to you today, so if there's anything else on the other channel, you may be advised to watch that. However, we do have a few Guess the Pictures, so it's worth hanging about for that. Let's see who is out there in the Vobosphere. We have the lovely Julia, who is out there, says, evening, Governor. Evening to you, lovely Julia. We also have, as I said before, where in Sussex, heavily disguised as Steve Pilfold. We have Audrey Forbes Hamilton, who says, good evening all. Evening to you, Audrey. Hope you're well. And Linda Kane says, evening to those who have made it here this evening. Yes, anybody else who happens to be watching while swimming down the high street, peering through somebody else's window who's watching and waving, not drowning, then hello to you. It would be very nice to see you. Robert Croesus says, Appleby's been hit hard with flooding. So no apples from there then. They'll all be floating. Little people would be hanging on to them like boys. And Andy Stacey says, good evening. Good evening to you, Andy Stacey. Lovely to see you. And Mike Dixon says, hello, TVS. Hello to you, Mike Dixon. Ed Loud says, dry here. That's fantastic. It's great to know that it is dry where you are, Mr. Loud. He says, just walked back from my granddad's and best friend's funeral's wake. Wait a minute. Oh, your granddad and your best friend. Don't tell me they both popped their clogs on the same time. That's awful. He is sure looking after me, kept me dry and warm, bless him. I'm very pleased to hear it. Kevin All is there. Hello, Kevin. Richard here. Nice to see you. Thanks for your report recently that you posted from the Midhurst floods, which was fascinating in the Bald Explorer group. That was very interesting to watch. Andrew Morris, what ho from Croatia. I hope you haven't had any floods and bits and pieces in Croatia. Oh, my phone is tinkling away. Mike Donny McLeod says, "How do just floated in." You can imagine him there doing the breaststroke like this. Hello, lads. I'm just floating in. Bless his little cotton socks, because he's from up north. Enjoyed the video, by the way, Mark. That's very nice. Lovely to see it. And Where in Sussex says, I travelled from Eastbourne to Crewe today. Flooding all over the place. Hamsey area, really bad, but not unusual there. The view you took, not the South Downs way, would be completely different. That's why I didn't do it recently, because obviously I wanted people to know where we were and not think that we were out there somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. But fortunately, it will go away, it will stop, we will reclaim this land. Have no fear, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Hall says, hello, Robert. Hello to you. Robert Wilkes says, hello, Richard. Sunny here. Where are you, Robert Wilkes, with all that lovely sunshine? Actually, it's getting dark here. Where's my mouse? Hang on, I'm just looking for my mouse to just move the comments up a bit, because they're a bit more at eye level, which would be good. Where are you? Yes, that's interesting. Ed Loud says, nah, one person, mate. You got it all wrong, mate. What you thinking, you stupid man? Sorry about that, Ed. He says, nah, but he had two roles. My granddad was my best friend and he was my granddad. Know what I mean? Someone had to put up with me. Yes, I can see that now. I'm beginning to beginning to understand the role that he played. He will sorely be missed, if not for the man himself, but for the job he did looking after you, so that we don't have to. But now we're lumbered with you. You're very welcome here, mate. Good, I'm so pleased. I don't have no idea how Ed speaks, but this is now how I imagine he speaks. Andrew Norris says that we have had glorious sunshine for days. Yes, is there a sort of zapper that we can zap Croatia off the map just for a few days and maybe chuck a great big bucket of water over them? Perhaps that would be the answer. Paul Smith says, no floods here in sunny Spain. Ba-da-dum-bum, ba-da-da-da-da, da-dee-da-da-dum-bum. Fantastic. I'm very pleased. There shouldn't be. Because although ordinarily, of course, if you listen to Pygmalion, the rain in Spain rains mainly in the plain. The rain in Spain rains mainly in the plain. She's got it. By golly, she's got it. Or is it by George? By somebody, anyway. Maybe by George, King George. Was it King George? Was that who it was? By George? Is that where it comes from? Is that the Georgian king? One of the Georgian kings? Which one would it be? Is it George the Fourth, possibly, for Pygmalion? George Bernard Shaw, wasn't it, who wrote Pygmalion, if my memory serves me correctly? Which, that would be a secondary education for you. That would be your comprehensive education from Horsham. Forest Boys, as it was then called. It was swiftly changed as the Forest School for Boys. But when I went, it was just plain Forest Boys, named after St. Leonard Forest, or St. Leonard's, they're belonging to, as it were. Why not all come here, says Andrew Norris. That sounds like a great idea. If I had my coracle, I'd be paddling over immediately. New Zealand, says Robert Wilkes. Oh, that's nice. Fantastic. Come walk with me, says, hello. What's going on here then? Any trouble? He's actually Dixon of Dock Green, I believe. I can confirm that Crewe is everything you'd expect in February and a whole lot less. Yes, I hadn't really given Crewe a lot of thought, but it's up north somewhere, isn't it? It's certainly north of the Downs. Hang on, you're all typing too fast now. All of a sudden, everybody's typing. Hang on a minute, let's go back a minute. Marriott Genealogy says, hello, everybody. Glenn Johnson, hello, computer peeps. Nice to see you, Glenn. Hope you're well. We must do a walk together soon. I keep pitching the idea, but I never bloody hear anything. Barbara Charles says, I'm watching Manchester United versus Chelsea on the telly, so keep the noise down. Do apologise. Sorry about that. It's a goal! For one of them. Leeds United scored 3 points. No idea if that meant anything. Wendy Laurie says, lovely sunny day in the Midlands. Oh, how lovely is that? We've had just rain, miserable rain and more misery. Misery and misery is what we've had here, which is a bugger, really. Can I say bugger? Am I all right to say bugger on this thing? Is that all right? All right, I'm being given the nod there. Thank you very much. I'm being given the nod. Robert Croser says, what's he doing down there? He gets about, big lad. What's who doing around where? Andrew Norris says, falls mainly on the plain. Well, yes, falls mainly on the plain. Where is the plain? Is that the deserts? Do they have the deserts out there? That's a song, isn't it? The deserts on the plain or something. Glenn Johnson says, took the dog out at 2 a.m, windy but fun. What, the dog was windy? You were windy? Or it was windy outside? Or it was fun being windy? Or perhaps having a windy dog is fun? I don't really... It's not exactly clear what you mean. But never mind. You don't need to clarify it any further. Dean Cooper says, would you like Victoria Sponge? Would you like Victoria Sponge? Yes, please. Yes, please. I would like Victoria Sponge. Although, having said that, I'll trade you Victoria's Station for the waterworks. I've got plenty of waterworks here at the moment. Hazel B says, good evening, everybody. Good evening to you, Hazel B. Ben Miller says, hi. Hello, Ben. And Linda Kane says, love to Andrew. Would love to see the village. We'd all love to see the village. Perhaps we should rent a small minibus. Do you think we could drive over to Croatia? We'd obviously have to drive onto the continent. Do people still say that, by the way? Couple of words in the English language that are we allowed to still say foreigner? And do foreigners come from the continent? That's my question. Or is that now a thing that, oh my God, you're going to be called racist if you say those things? I'd just be interested to know whether we're allowed to say that. Crewe, the anus of England, says Robert Croser, which is not a very nice thing to say because there may be people who live in Crewe who quite like it. They may say that about Cumbria. You never know your luck. So who knows? What else have we got there? don't forget to put your thumbs up, says, who was that? That was, somebody said that. Oh, Ramiboo, thank you very much. Where in Sussex, if it doesn't have an apt, it doesn't have an apt, though. Whatever that means. Yes, I've been in it 30 years ago. Come talk with me. How's the rain today? It's perpendicular. Glenn Johnson says, we used to chase Forest boys over Horsham Park Friday nights from the boys' club. Those were the days. Yeah, I bet they were. What were you doing? Wait a minute. You couldn't have been chasing the Forest boys because they were the big bully boys. I mean, they even bullied themselves. Well, they bullied me. They used me as a battering ram against the school. Guess what? The school's still standing. Come Walk Me said, did anyone else have thunder and lightning on Saturday? Blimey, Saturday? I can barely remember yesterday, let alone on Saturday. I just got a pendolino. What? A pendolino. What the hell is that? A pendolino. And even my journey was disrupted. Didn't even go via HS1. Is there such a thing as HS1? High Speed 1. Is that what it is? Come Walk With Me said we had thunder and lightning in Chester. See, we got here at the Vobes show, we've got everybody all rounded up. You know, we could have reports coming in from all over the place. If only you'd had the presence of mind to go out with your cameras and send them in, we could have had our own little roundup of the weather. We should do that for Wednesday. Send everybody out and just give us a sort of report. Even if there's nothing happening, if it's just as boring as anything, just do a report saying, it's as boring as anything. Send the files to me, richard@vobes.com, via wetransfer.com. Jeff Kellison is there. He says, got another storm coming across Wyoming and Colorado. Should be there in about 8 or 9 days. Great. Send it over to us, will you? Because we haven't had enough of it. Glenn Johnson says, yes, walk hundreds of ideas. Excellent. I'm glad somebody has, because I'm running out of them, you know. Yeah, get in touch. Send me an email or something. I know I'm old-fashioned with emails, but I can't cope with the Facebook Messenger stuff. I lose them. People send me messages on that all the time, and I'm forever chasing them. Somehow or other, I just prefer emails. Who prefers emails to any of these other sort of WhatsApps and Messenger things? I thought there was another MSN Messenger was one thing. I don't know if people still use that. Do foreigners know what love is? I don't know. That's Robert Crosat. Hazel B says foreigners come from everywhere. They do. That's what I thought. Where in Sussex says, if you can't say foreigner, how can you introduce I want to know what love is on the radio? I don't know. What is I want to know what love is? Is that a song? That's probably a song, because you work in a radio station from time to time, don't you? And you probably know the titles of songs, whereas me, rubbish on songs. Mark Donny McLeod says, a foreigner is the job you pay no tax on, allegedly. Huh. Is that Johnny Foreigner? You used to call him Johnny Foreigner, didn't you? I've just suddenly come into my head that. It's a lovely name. Probably not, really. The Bluebell Railway is flooded, says Ben Miller. Great. Which part? Is the part at Sheffield Park or the other one? Whatever the other one's called. Mickey Stevens says, Crewe as one of the best railways. Yes, well, it's got the crew to run it, hasn't it? Ba-bum. Thank you. All of the above, says Glenn Johnson. All of the above. Hang on, I can't see anything above. Huge station and a shopping centre. That's all Crewe has, says Robert Croser. I think Robert Croser's got it in for Crewe. Andy Frierson, meanwhile, says, Pendolino is in fact a train. Pendolino. Well, it's a funny name for a train, isn't it? Is it Pendolino? Pendolino? More like end of the lino. Look out for the buffers. The train goes through the buffers and over the edge of the cliff, and that's the end of the lino. Never heard of it. Kevin Hall says, yeah, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, okay, thanks, Jeff. Mickey Stevens says, lovely, friendly people in Crewe too. So there we are. Don't argue with them. They are all very nice people. Where in Sussex says, I could have done weather in Crewe. You could have done weather in Crewe, but it was raining, so I didn't fancy it. What do you mean you could have done weather? What does that mean? What does that actually mean in words in the English language? I could have done weather. I could have done weather, you know, but I didn't fancy it. It was raining. Hazel says, no thunder and lightning here in this part of seedy Surrey. Oh, is it seedy where you live? How seedy is it? Are you down some back alley somewhere, you know, with an arch, an old dark arch of a railway and seedy things, you know, the rats in the drains and I was going to say stoats then, but you probably don't get stoats in Surrey, do you? They're sort of, or maybe the odd badger poking his nose out. I'd like to know how seedy it is and what makes it seedy. Robert Brailsford, he says, why are you on your own? Why? That's it. What? Why? Because nobody loves me, you know. Nobody loves me. I just here on my own. I rang up people. I rang them. I rang their necks. Chickens. They didn't like it. I said, please come on the show with me. Please. Not bloody likely. You'll just keep talking and I'll sit there and do nothing. I said, well, it's a long way for you to come over from Australia, Dame Edna. Oh, I realise that. Oh, I'm not coming on your show, you possums. No, thanks. Picture quiz, says Where in Sussex, as if he's like some producer saying, "Hey, Richard, get on with the show. We're here for the picture quiz." Yeah, well, I'm going to make you wait now. You've asked, you see. 2 email and text, says Ramiboo. Oh no, that's Ramiboo 2, says email and text. Why are you on your own? Did a traction course in Crewe back in the day. Spent a year there. What is that? Driving a traction engine? Was that what you were doing in Crewe? Were you part of the crew of a traction engine? Is that what it was? Come Walk With Me says, what do you call intelligent people in the US? Foreigners. Is that what you call them? Intelligent people in the US. Ben, how is Glenn? Says Kevin Hall. Ben, how is Glenn? And Glenn, how is Len? And Len, how are the men? And the men, are they in the den? Try and think of some more and we'll add them to it. Oh, here we go. Where in Sussex says Pendolino. That's like, wasn't there Dandolino? He was a famous, what do you call it? A clown, but more than that, he was a vaudeville act, wasn't he? Dan Leno. Oh yeah, Dan Leno. He was a famous Victorian, I think, very short bloke. He used to have these long boots, which had lengths of wood on them, so that he could lean at impossible angles. Dan Leno. Yeah. Pronounced Dandolino. Oh, Pendolino, says Paul Smith. Richard, you got it all wrong, mate. It's a pen. Do lean Pendolino. Is that because they lean? Is that how it works? The trains are travelling that fast that they go and they lean over. You know, like how motorbikes do that almost impossible thing. They lean this far, and you can't help thinking, no matter that you're not a mean and nasty person, but you just can't help thinking, I just wish because you're leaning that far, you just go bonk. No, I don't want you to get hurt or anything, but I just like, the audacity of it. I just like you to actually, just cock it up once. Donk. Oops. That'll teach you. Just so you could go past and go, that'll teach you. Do you get like that? Do you ever get like that? Do you think, they pass you at speed. There you are driving along on the motorway and they're in the middle. You're on a dual carriageway and it's going a bitish slowish a bit and they weave up the middle. They shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do that through the middle of the two, on the white lines on the dual carriageway. Do you ever get that? And then they zoom off and they lean round like this as they go round a corner. And you just wish, don't you? You just wish they would just lean that little bit too far. Bonk. That'll teach them. You just want that to happen, don't you? I did 2 weeks in Leeds, says Where in Sussex. Well, if you're a dog, you'll end up with Leeds on you. Mike Dixon says, are you in isolation due to coronavirus? Yes, I've had a coronavirus. I've had a cornetto virus. If you have too many cornettos, give me cornetto, you end up turning into some stupid Italian going, give it to me, let me out, you swines, I'm from Italy, I must have my cornetto, give it to me before I die. Yes, the cornetto virus is striking people down all over the place, especially the mint chocolate ones. That's the worst you can get because actually on one end you can set light to the mint and it'll smoke in a very nice way and you can stick the thing in your hand like this and chew your way through it from the cornetto bottom. Do try it. Michael Angel says Max Wall. Oh yes, Max Wall. He also did the same thing. Dan Leno, if you look him up on the Google, I'm going to go and do it now because I can. You see, I can do this. Dan Leno. You're all going to do this, aren't you? Dan Leno. I bet there's a picture of him. Images. There won't be any proper images of Dan. Oh, where's all the proper image? I'm looking. There's no... Dan Leno? What was he? Dan Leno. I probably spelt that wrong. I probably pronounced it right. Wrong. A clown. I'm going to put in there clown, see if that brings him up. There he is. Dan Leno, Wikipedia. There he is. Yeah, he was a clown. There's lots of pictures. If you put just wherever I can't get the picture into the thing so easily. There must be a way of doing it, but I haven't found. Well, hang on a minute. Of course there is. Of course there is. Here we go. Look, I forgot. I have a mechanism here. Here's a nice picture of him. Oh, let's find where. Here we go. Look, that's Dan Leno. Dan Leno the clown. It probably tells me if I could get out of that. When he was born in St Pancras in London, he was the youngest of 6 children, included 2 elder brothers, John and Henry, and the elder sister, Frances. 2 other siblings died in infancy. I bet that was a comic moment. John Gavlin, 1836, and his wife, Louisa Dutton, performed together a double act called the Singing and Acting Duists, not Dentists. 1865. It was sort of that sort of time. Anyway, yes, but Max Wall, he also used to do that as well. Max Wall was hilarious. I used to like Max Wall. I used to like his silver hammer. Oh, no, that was Max Wall's silver hammer. 2 different people. Don't get confused. Crew is a mecca for train buffs, is it? Why? Crew, is it because they have a crew? Is it something to do with the crew of the train? Is that what it's called? Where in Sussex? By Jove, he's got a little tilting train. He's got it. The tilting train, the Pendolino. Oh, the pen. Is it because it goes to Penzance or something? Penzance, Richard. Mark Selwood. Loved it. I watched the Mark Selwood and Richard Vobes show when we were down there doing a live, one of these Vobes show things down there. Penzance, Richard. Penzance. Oh, Mark Selwood. I've got to go down and see Mark Selwood. We had such a laugh on that show last year sometime. Come Walk With Me says, I don't drive yet. Okay, so don't get on the road. So no, I don't wish the bikers to tip over. Are you a biker? Lyndon Hughes says here we go. However you pronounce it, I can't. When I see it written down like that, Pendolino. You see, it was better when you write it phonetically. One can read it better. The Italian Pendolino, pendulum. Oh, as in pendulum. Okay, and Ino, a diminutive suffix, is an Italian family of tilting trains. Oh, there we are. I kind of want the tilting train now to fall over, don't you? Perhaps not. An apt is about 200 yards from me. What the hell is an apt? An APT? What does that mean? Don't talk in this complicated language, which I fail to understand. Come Walk With Me says, I say the strawberry cornetto is worse than the mint. Ah, now you're talking more my language. Why is that, the strawberry one? Hey, get me cornetto, a strawberry. Can you roll your R's, by the way? Not your arse, your R's. Rrr. Can you do that? Really, it's so ridiculous, Richard. I can roll my R's so very easily. But can you roll your T's? Only down a hill. Robert Croser says it was the mighty Atom who had shoes to lean over. Oh, don't give me all that, the mighty Atom. Dan Leno did it. I've got a book about him, so shut your cobblers up. Dan Leno looks like Robert Croser. Yes, actually, it was Robert Croser in an earlier life. I have a choc chip cornetto in my freezer, says Dan Cooper. Get in your van and bring it round. You're too busy eating Victoria Sponge. You don't need it. I need it. Max Wall had great dress sense. He certainly did. Glenn Johnson says Mac Wall had also great... Oh, no, somebody... yeah, whatever. I think somebody else got in that and it moved. Anyway, Mike Dixon, demonstrate your attaché case mime stunt, which is very clever. You make it look so easy. Yes, that's very true, but I don't believe I have the case in the studio. You're very lucky. I do not have the case in the studio, otherwise I would demonstrate that little piece of mime for you to keep you amused and entertained. But unless it's hidden in there. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him as Horatio. His name is Yorick. How did you know him as Horatio? Well, he had many disguises, don't you know? Sometimes he was Neville. It's a nice name, isn't it? Neville, as in Chamberlain, as opposed to Chamber Pot. Neville Chamber Pot. He never really amounted to much, did he? People used to... Anyway, Rami Boo says, yes, you love Mark together. It was a riot. Don't think I've heard my mum laugh that hard. Well, I don't remember. Yes, it was Penzance, Richard. Mousel. Oh, I've got to get Mark back on the show. We had such fun. ATP is average... What? Poppadom... I'm not reading that out. I don't know what AT... Oh, advanced passenger train. Advanced? Oh. Probably the biggest UK development waste of time in the last 40 years. Yes, well, and with HS2 coming, I'm sure that it will be topped very soon. What's a book, Glenn? Says, come walk with me. There must be conversation going on. What is TVS? Says Hazel B. The Vobes Show. The Vobes Show. TVS. I didn't coin it. I mean, I coined the Vobes Show bit, but TVS, of course, was Television South back in the day. Is your case on the shelves, Richards? Is your case on the shelves? No, it's not. It's not there. It's on these shelves, on the secret shelves that we put up. No, it's upstairs. It is upstairs, I'm afraid, or in the front room. Can't remember. Glenn Johnson says watched a video of the apts being ripped apart. The apps. Can you not just say the advanced passenger train? Then I would understand what you're talking about. Because every time you say apt, I think that you mean that something is apt. You know, whereas appropriate, apt. Is apt short for appropriate? It's very apt when they say it's very. Isn't that? That's very apt. Anyway, let's have a look at some pictures, shall we? I want you to see if you can guess what this is. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, have a look at this. What is that? A big close-up of. Elaine Brazier sent this in. But what is it? What is that a big close-up of? There is a £25 voucher from Woolworths, if you get this right. £25 of pick and mix at Woolworths, if you get this correct. Do let me know. Guesses on a postcard. Send them to me, care of the Beach Hut in Worthing. I'm just getting up the email, actually, because I can't remember. Now, the lovely Elaine Brazier did tell me what it was. Well, I didn't write it down because I didn't think I needed to. Here we go. Just find her email in my list of emails. Loading. It's very slow, my internet. Here we go. Right. Guess the... It's an insect. I might give that away. Guess the insect. But what is it? Apparently, I can give you some clues on this. They feed on conifers... especially pines, but they do not do any noticeable damage, she says. They've only been in this country for 10 years. They originally came from North America. It will go into buildings for shelter in the autumn and the winter. But what insect is it? Hazel B says it's a spider. Julia says it looks like a winged insect. A barnacle-covered shell. Come Walk With Me says lunch for a cat. Mark Dunny McLeod says, sounds great, Mark Selwood. Lovely, take him to lizard. Okay. A flea. Is it a moth? Glenn Johnson says, is it a key? No, it's not a key. It's a leaf beetle, says Deborah Martin. Is it a leaf beetle? Hang on, she didn't actually tell me on this. Guess the insect, yes. She did... Guess the insect. Forgot to say, Richard, it was on the handle of our front door. The picture that she has sent. Let's have another look at the picture that she's sent. Here it is, and that is a bigger view of it. Can anyone tell me what that is? I don't think Elaine actually knows. That's the point. I think she doesn't have any... Oh, yes, she does. Yes, she does. She's got in large capital letters, actually. She has actually told me exactly what it is. So I do know what it is. It's just I'm not telling you yet. Glenn Johnson doesn't know. Is it a spruce aphid? Well, Dave Ford, you're very close, really. You're very close. And it may be that it is... Maybe it is that by another name. Michael says it's a debt collector. Yeah, on the handle of your door is trying to get in. It's amazing how it's a bailiff. It's a bailiff bug. That would be an appropriate name, wouldn't it? A bailiff bug. It's a bailiff bug, mate. No. Mark Donny McLeod doesn't know either. Is it some sort of spider, says Kevin All? No, it's not a... It is a bug. It is a bug. I'll tell you what the answer is. It's a western conifer seed bug. But I think Dave Ford was very close with spruce aphid, because that's a spruce is a sort of aphid, isn't it? A spruce is a sort of conifer, rather. Western conifer seed bug, it says here. So there we are. I was trying to get into Elaine's house. Let me in. Some sort of grasshopper, says people are still guessing. Dan Harris says, hi, Richard. Hope you're well. Yes, very well. Thank you very much for passing by. A mosquito, says Dan Cooper. Is it coronavirus? I think it could well be. It hasn't come from China. It's come western. See, it's not come from the east. It's a western conifer seed bug. So that'll be that. Dave, D for Bricks is there. Please, D for Bricks, if you say hi to everybody, you will get banned, just to warn you. Who would have thought it, says Robert Crowe. I know. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought that? Linda Kane says 60. Apropos of 60 people watching. There were. Hello to the 60 people. If you're watching this for the very first time thinking, what the hell am I actually watching? I could be doing something much more entertaining and amusing with my life, and yet I'm watching some bald bloke who can't even speak straight and is doing a very odd live show. Well, this is the Vobes show, and if you are one of those people who've watched The Bald Explorer and you're thinking, but this isn't this intelligent chap going round looking earnestly at the English countryside and heritage and landscape. What is this blundering fool doing? I am actually his identical twin who shares the same name but a different birthday. And not only that, we have the same parents from different countries. And we live yards apart now. Yards apart. I'm the one that has the 2 eyes and one that's replaced, and he's the one that had 2 eyes and one taken out. So work that out if you can in your spare time. But don't waste your cerebral powers now, because none of that actually makes it the slightest bit of sense. However, we're going to have a look at some more pictures, if I can get the thing lined up before destroying everything. So let's work out how to do that. Here we go. So the next little guess the item was... I'm not going to tell you who this is, because you might guess it from that, actually. So let's have a look, see if we can work out what this is. Here we go. What's this, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know what that is? I'll leave it up for a few moments. We're in Sussex. Imagine the size of the ladybird eating the aphid. Imagine that. Mark Selwood says, it's good watching the show after a little tour the other day, Richard. Makes everything 3D instead of 2V version that we are used to. I'm just going to have to go and work out what you just meant by that. Mark! I've got to come back down there. We've got to have more fun. That was such a hilarious show we did. I watched it, parts of it. I was going through it the other night, just bits, thinking, golly, I've done quite a few of these Vobes shows. And then I ended up watching our show that we did in that little sauna. And instead of just watching like 2 minutes just to remind myself of the show, I watched about 20 minutes of the blooming thing. And it was hilarious. Penzance, Richard, Penzance. It was just very funny. It was very funny. You're a very funny man. You just don't know it. And we should be doing more stuff together. Glenn Johnson says, okay, Rob. So, Come Walk Me says, I've always wondered what I've lost it. The Smeg. What was that? The Smeg. That's what the Smeg I am watching, but I hope it goes the difference. Thanks, Come Walk With Me. D for Brip says, is it a hose pipe? That's a good answer. It's not the right. Bicycle frame, Rami Bow says. Part of a bike? Is it a trolley, says Linda Kane. It's an object, says Come Walk With Me. Yes, it is. That's very true. It is an object. Bike frame weld, says We're in Sussex. Paul Smith says something welded together. Glenn Johnson says, I see a weld. Yes. And Linda Kane says 65T 626534. I'm not quite sure. Is that what you're seeing? Where are you seeing that then? I'm just looking there. I can't see that at all. I don't know quite what you're getting there at 60. Dan Harris says brake clip on a yellow chopper bike. Oh. Dave Ford, is it part of a bike? A bike recumbent. Recumbent? What is it? What do you mean by recumbent? Part of the luggage rack on a train, possibly from crew, says Hazel B. I think it is, actually. Mark Selwyn says, I agree, it was a great show. We need to do it again. We do. Maybe we should do it in Penzance, in Mousel, Richard. Mousel. Of course, Truro in the rain was hilarious because, of course, we got so criticised by people when we made that video when we were in Truro because we weren't being serious enough. We didn't point out all the relevant, important things. We just had a bit of a laugh. It was quite funny. D for Bricks says, how's your day been? Says D for Bricks. It's been very nice. Thank you very much for asking. Especially if he takes you on the great heights again. Now, we're not going to be doing any of that nonsense, I can tell you that. Andy Friesen says, is it a scooter? Linda Kane says, damn, just spilled the last of my glass of wine. Oh, my giddy aunt. Was that why those weird numbers came up? They just went, and you're going, oh, bother. That was someone just said yellow chopper. A friend of mine caught that from a grubby lady. Yellow chopper. Now, I think you're getting mixed up with the Western conifer seed bug there, Phil. Phil, sorry. What's his name? Mr. Waring's Pilfold, Steve Pilfold. I had a different name stuck in my head there. Mark Selwyn says, I've watched it a few times myself to raise the spirits through my darker moments. Ah, bless your cotton woolen socks. You're welcome to come up here and spend the day. Escape from the clutches of the car park industry and come up to the Vobes, or I'll come down to see you. We must do it again. In fact, in this weather is perfect, so we just get stuck in places and we have a bit of fun. And you can say things like gunpowder, gunpowder factory. You can say that umpteen times. Which would be, it's a private joke, ladies and gentlemen, just between Mark and I. I'm sorry to say that. Dave Ford says, too thin for a chopper, in my humble opinion. He said, let's have another look. Let's have another gander at some of these pictures and see if we can work out what the bloody hell is going on here. Hang on, I just lost it. Let's come back here. Try this one, see if you can work out now. There we are. There's another element to it of whatever it is. Can you work that out? What is that? What is that strange thing? It's something, but what is it? That's what we want to know. I love that video. You're trying to make the best of the rain. Yeah, we did. Back in the day. Now I'm out filming in the rain every day because I have no bloody choice. Mark Donny McLeod says, recumbent, you lay back on these bikes and I see, and the pedals are in front of you. Oh, one of those. The lazy man's guide to cycling. I see these people doing that, and I think they're just having a lie down. Their feet are just sort of moving, but they're not really cycling. What do you think about that? Do you think they're really cycling, or are they just having a lie down? So that's it. A wheelchair. It could be a wheelchair. Linda Kane says, Glenn and Miss, for goodness sake. Not quite sure. They're 60 watching, but only 6 with the thumbs up. Yeah, it's difficult to watch with your thumbs up like this all the time. Are you somebody who used to suck your thumb when you were a kid? Put your thumbs up give me a thumbs up if you were somebody who used to suck your thumb as a kid. I used to suck my thumb, which is why my teeth are slightly prominent there. Just a bit. They've gone back a little bit more reserved now, my teeth. But when I was a kid, I had to wear braces to hold them back because they were sort of sticking out. They almost sticked out so far that, when I went round a corner, they poked around and people thought that there was a rabbit coming. And then eventually I followed them and they thought, oh no, it's Esther Ransom. And no, it's Richard Vobes. A kid's bike or rucksack. Michael Angel is saying, is it a kid's car seat? Is it a saddlebag, says Linda Kane? A seat of some sort? Is it a bicycle trailer? It's all over the laptop, says Linda Kane. All over the laptop. I've got my poor mum listening to this, says Mark Selwood. She don't get the sense of humour. No, your poor mum, as I remember it from that, said that the Vogue show was a cult. I remember. Do you remember that? She said the Vobes was a cult. That was the funniest thing. It's a cult in Penzance, Richard. It's Penzance. It's a cult, Richard. Your mother thought it was a cult, and it is. It is a cult of sorts. I'm going to have to watch it again at some point. Linda Kane says, yes, suck my thumb when I was into my 30s. Oh my goodness, Linda Kane sacked your thumb into the 30s. By the way, Linda, did you get my email? I sent you a big thank you email. You were so kind. Linda, I have to say, Linda Kane anonymously sent me a large wad of cash just to keep me going. She must have felt very sorry for me. And I did send you a big thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. It's so kind of you. It's people like you that keep people like me going. So thank you so much for that. Kevin says 22 thumbs up now and 60 still watching. It's amazing, isn't it? Isn't that amazing? We're in Sussex. It says, about a month ago, I was talking to Matthew Holdsworth about the Vobes and saying how bad the weather had been for filming so long. Hasn't it improved? No, it's just got worse. Well, actually, I've just got braver now. I just go out in the weather. I don't care. And one thing I've noticed, the great thing about filming in public, go out when it's raining. They don't stay and hang about and look at you with stupid faces as if to, to try and put you off. If you go into public and you're filming yourself and you've got your camera and you're going, hello, I'm Richard Vobes, international film star of stage and screen and blah, blah, and I'm walking, and you're talking to the camera like that and you're trying to present and say something intelligent, trying to, but it all comes out in a garbled mess, and people are watching you and laughing at you and thinking, what are you doing? Do you think you're somebody or something? And I used to say, don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? I'm that bald git who lives in the funny house over the road, that if you try and block me in, I'll block you, mate. And I've been to Penzance, Richard. Penzance! I've been to Penzance, where they have gunpowder. No, not really. But go in the rain. Do your filming in the rain, because people are so busy under their hoods like this going, oh, bloody hell. And they might think, what's that bloke doing in the... But they won't stop and annoy you because they don't want to get wet. And I just stand there proudly and go, I'm filming in the rain. I'm filming in the rain. Notice I managed to get a roll of the R's in there. It's always good to roll your R's. Mark Donny McLeod says, try it, Richard, and see how lazy it is. You get 3-reeled recumbents with plastic shell, can go up to 60 kilometres an hour. I don't know what kilometres an hour. What's that in miles per hour? I bet that's only about 5. Linda Kane says, oil fixation. Yes, got it tar. Oh, great. Oh, sorry, oral fixation. Fair enough. She wasn't saying cult. It's the accent. It's the accent. Oh, I see. What was she saying then, if it wasn't that? And you've used that joke twice now, I've noticed. You're just like the BBC, Mr. Croser, full of repeats. Come on, lad. Get original. Think of something original, for goodness sake. Andrew Murphy says, what have I tuned into tonight? Yes, what have you? You've no idea. You've absolutely no idea what it is you've tuned into. And the great thing is it stays like that, even when you've been watching for an hour or a couple of years. As some of these poor wretched people who are watching me regularly, they've been watching for years and they're still pulling out their hair, trying to look like the Vobes and saying, what is it this? Why am I watching this nonsense? Why am I watching this absolute buffoon? This stupid, silly Englishman who's performing like some dancing monkey. I only have to tap something in and he'll go and do it. Go and walk round your suitcase, as Mike Dixon said earlier. And if he had it there, he would have done it. But there we go. Vobenort, says Mike, Robert Croser, apropos of... Oh, speaking of which, us true followers need a name. Vobesters, Vobies, Baldis... Not Baldies, please. That's such a horrible term. Baldies. Matthews... God, CO, Pilot. I'm not quite sure where. A Vobster, says Andrew. What's his name? Michael Angel, even. Vobinator, says Robert Croser. Yes, I've had all these weird names. You see, when I had the children, I didn't have them personally. Mommy, Daddy, you've made the news, Daddy, the first man to have children. I had 3 of them, you see. They all popped out like shells. But when I had the kids, we used to go and do the corporate stuff, and sometimes I would get to go to do little circus shows, and the kids would come along with me, and I would say, it's Dickie Vobes and the Vobettes. So you could be the Vobettes. That's quite funny. Dickie Vobes and the Vobettes. Yes, it's a little bit of sparkly stuff back in the day when I had both eyes and didn't wear glasses, and I had a super stud body ripped so that I could rip my clothes off down to a thong, and I could lie on a bed of nails, razor-sharp knives juggled across my bare chest, and douse myself in petrol and set myself on fire, many occasion for the entertainment of the crowds. Deborah Martin says, Richard, I'm worried that you may suffer with road rage, motorbikes tipping over and blocking people in if they park in the wrong place. Bloody motorbike tipped over now, haven't you? You, all of you, I'll get you, you cheeky monkey. Well, why, I'm going to get out here and waggle my fists about and wobble my head, wobbly like that, and twiddle it round like this, like some people can do, but I can't do that because it's very difficult. Yes, you're quite right, Deborah. That could happen. Yes, what is it? Peterbed. I don't know what that means. David Chamberlain, evening, all nice to see you. Birthday today, another year wiser. Happy birthday to you, David. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear David. Do you know, I was looking, as I was singing that, I was trying to think, is there any R's in there to roll your R's? Happy birthday. Not really, is it? Birthday to you. Andrew and I says, I like Vobesters. Yes, that's a nice one. I like Vobesters. Did Croser get it just for my joke? I'm not quite sure. Yes, he probably did, actually. Mickey Baines says, stereo Vobic comes out of both speakers. That's good. If I could only pan... I wonder if I can do this. Tell me if this works. Tell me, here's a little test. And then over to another speaker. Tell me if that actually did anything. I think it's coming out of here mono, so I don't think it made the blind bit of difference, but I'll be fascinated to know if that did anything. I did just pan the thing from one to another, but if it may well just come out, it may come out as... mono anyway, so you may have heard nothing unusual. Baldies are better than being slapheads. That's true, I suppose. Mike Dixon says, Vobes, creatures from the planet Earth. Vobes, yes, this little green, horrible, nasty, like bogies. I can see where you were going with that, Mr. Mike. You and your lichin that you are liking. Yes, I've got the measure of you, mate. Vobettes, a new camp band. Hello, Dickie Vobes here, and the Vobettes. Dun 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 dun. Oh, I'm Dickie Vobes, and I have the Vobettes. We're the Vobettes, we're the Vobettes, we're the best of the Vobettes, we're the Vobettes, we're the Vobettes. Do 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 do. Place your bets for the Vobettes, ladies and gentlemen, on the roulette wheel the Vobette wheel, I suppose. Hazel B said the sound went. Oh, did it? It shut down the microphone. Oh, well, there we are. You see, it panned one way and it suddenly disappeared. Sorry about that. Where it says it lost the audio on the first pan, so it's only going out one channel. Well, it's only going in one channel, isn't it? It's only going in one channel. It's only one microphone. It's not stereo microphone, you know. It's just coming in one channel, and then it's coming out of the mixer in stereo, but it's going into the computer, I guess, as a mono signal, and... you don't get a choice. It's funny you should say that, actually, because I'm just looking now. Properties. Can I make that stereo? Microphone. No, I don't get any choice to have that in stereo, the microphone. It just comes in one channel. Presumably it's being pumped out, because presumably you're getting it in mono, where you are. If you've got your computer, say, it's coming out both speakers, but at the same time. And I imagine that's how it should be. We lost the sound with your twiddling. Yes, you've got it back now, though, haven't you? Sorry about that. If you were a Vobinator, you could say, I'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be back, or will I be Tchaikovsky? Robert says, he's got 3 legs, I hear. Yeah, maybe he has. Hazel B says, next time you hear Madonna's song Vogue, sing along Vobes. And said, how does... Yes, Vogue. I've only recently understood that she had a song called Vogue. I don't know how it goes. He's coming in my ears. Yes, I expect 2 mics and stereo, says Glenn Johnson. I expect 2 mics and stereo. Well, the other mic is also on here. Hang on a minute. Then I'll just put the other microphone up, which is here. There we go. Look at that. This is Julia's microphone. So if I'm speaking into Julia's microphone and I speak into my microphone, They're just going into one channel but coming out mono at your end, you see. It doesn't matter. If I fade my microphone down, so I faded this one down, I should be quite faint now. If I come over to here, you should be able to hear me a lot louder, you see. This is how... It's very, very clever. Come back, no, like that, and then you can hear every last word that I'm saying. It's very technical. It's a very technical thing. Now, if I fade them both down... They can't hear me at the moment because I faded them down. They haven't a bloody clue what I'm saying. They're so ignorant out there. They believe anything. Exactly. Oh, I know. Tell me about it. What? How long have we got? 10 minutes? Crikey. All right, I'll fade the microphone. I'll fade the microphones up now, shall I? So, yeah, there we go. I faded them up. We can get rid of this one. There we are. Look at that. Disappeared. You wouldn't know it was there. You wouldn't know it was there. Especially if I push it just that. There we go. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Ramy Boo says, Michael, yes, but the Vobinator, more than what makes up something. I do enjoy the momentary dash of silence during the Vobes show, says Mark. You see, you're a funny man, Mark. And the men in white coats are coming for you soon. Mike Dixon says, demonstrating your attaché case mime holding the calendar is hanging on the wall behind you. Yeah, I demonstrate it. He's so desperate for me to do it that I do not... Oh, wait a minute. Ha! Wait a minute. I found it. I have found it. I have found it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how that managed to get into there. Let's just go a bit more wide angle for this. This, ladies and gentlemen, just you can make the own sound effects if you wish. This is the notoriously famous international Vobes and his suitcase routine. One moment, please. I certainly didn't expect this. I didn't expect Mike Dixon to be pulling the strings. I am just his puppet. I am just his puppet, ladies and gentlemen. We'll add a bit of light for this. Look at that. See, look. Completely and utterly. That is a bit weird. I'm having to hold it up higher than I would normally do it so that you can see the reaction. Whoops. God, blimey. And that, my friends, I've lost it. I lost it down a mine shaft. You see, these houses, when they built them back in the Victorian days, there was a lot of sinkholes, and they just boarded over them thinking no one would ever go down into the cellar. They sold them with a cellar, of course. It's just that people would bring in their furniture for weeks, chuck them down in the cellar, you'd never see it. Filled it right up. But still the sinkhole sunk. And now, I forgot to mention that there was a very loose floorboard there. Very loose one. Oops. Very, very loose. Because you have to be very careful here, ladies and gentlemen, because you may not have noticed, I always do that when I get there, because if I tread onto this point here, whoa! If you Don't worry, I put a bit of gaffer tape over it. It has the effect of being a trampoline when you put a bit of gaffer tape over it. Anyway, how are we doing now? Have we frightened off everybody? I bet they've all gone now, haven't they? I've got too many windows. I can't find them. Where's my mouse gone? Where's the mouse? I found a rat. Excuse me one moment, please. I just have a... So, what did we say this was? Did we work out what this was? We frightened somebody off. Look, they've just gone. Does anybody know what that is yet? I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. It just appeared. I'll tell you what it is. We'll have the reveal. I think we should have the reveal at 5 minutes now to 9 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. 5 minutes to 9 o'clock. Had no content whatsoever for tonight's show, as you may have noticed. And it has been a bit raw. I appreciate, for one, the skill that takes years of dedication, says Glenn Johnson. Unfortunately, that only took 5 minutes. Yes, I appreciate that. Here it is. What is it? There we go. This was actually sent in by Jeff Kellison, and he has it. Many people have guessed similar things. Somebody said it was a kettle. Somebody else said it was a small box of matches, I believe. And somebody had guessed that it was a pin-up of Diana Ross. But no, it's actually some form of scooter. Jeff Kellison probably will tell us exactly what it was. I've lost the email now that says what it was. Well, I probably haven't, actually. If I was to go and look for it, I guess I could find it, but I can't find it. So there we are. So yeah, but it's a nice bike, I believe, some kind of bike that Jeff rides. It's not his lorry, definitely not his lorry. That's just his bike. So there we go. That's very interesting. A bag. He's only got 45 minutes set, says Glenn Johnson. That's Elaine Braze's undies. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there. The Hair Bear Bunch had one of those. It's Jeff's Hell's Angel. There we go. Come on. We would never have got that one. Who would have caught being seen in that, says Barbara Childs. Well, the lovely Jeff Kellison rides around all across America. He tours around in that thing. It's absolutely hairless. He's got very long hair, has Jeff Kellison. I mean, I've never met him. He's a very lovely bloke, but I've never. So I have to imagine. You know, I like with so many of you guys who I've never met. I have to imagine what people are like, and I imagine that Jeff gets on that bike with long hair, about 6 feet, trailing behind him. Probably ginger. I don't know why I imagine it's ginger hair. I reckon there's a sort of element of Scottishness in him. Oh, hi, the renew. It's me, the lovely... Actually, I've spoken to Jeff. He doesn't sound Scottish at all. But maybe he's, it's ironed out, turned into a bit more American. I'm not quite sure. If you're there, Jeff, do put me right, because I am just making this all up on the spot. I'm actually killing the last few minutes of the show, and killing the show in its entirety, to be fair. So there we come. I've still lost it. Where's the sodding mouse? The trouble, you'd think that they would make a mouse, the mouse counter. Why don't they make it a different colour than white, so that when you're on a white screen, like so much of the computer world is white, why not make it like orange or flashing picture of the arrow thing on your mouse would be much better. Maybe that's possible to change. I don't know. Perhaps somebody could tell me. We've lost 7 people. 7 people have gone. But we've had 31 likes. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. David Keel says that suitcase room was excellent, Richard. Well, it's better in a wide room and when I've warmed up. I'm just demonstrating in the Wonderland Zoo. Yes, thanks. Got to go and watch my second favourite man, the salvage hunter, says Linda Kane. Oh, that's very good. I hope he salvages something very nice. And Mark Selwood says, I could show you mime, Mr. Dixon. It would make you laugh. Yes, we've seen yours, Mark Selwood. We're going to go Penzance, Richard, Penzance. Mousel. Oh, bless him. Anyway, it looks quite small, says Hazel. Jeff says it's actually quite good. He said he built it. There we are. You can't buy it from the shops. He built it from scratch. It's actually made from an old drain pipe and a sofa. And I think there's a lawnmower engine attached as well. It's fantastic. Mandy of Mary Max says goodbye. Linda Kane says night all. See you. Take care and see you on Wednesday. Andrew Norris says you should have had options to change your mouse format. Yes, I think I will. What I need is a nice flashing thing. You'd be wrong. I'm almost as bald as you, says Jeff Kellison. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. I didn't realise. But actually, Jeff is planning to be my stand-in for one of those days when I just can't make it, when the old heart flutters and the soul disappears up there to the sky because I've been eating too much helium. Anyway, enough from that from me. Thank you so much for watching. It's been great fun. Always good fun to see you. Now, if you are still here for the moment, tomorrow evening, less fun. I shall be doing a live stream on how to edit videos for beginners, a complete novice guide, and thoughts and ideas on editing process. Not so much the flow, I know, and not to do with the actual software, though I will be using a bit of software to demonstrate some things, but don't let that worry you. It's really about the process of editing for those people who do a little bit on the Bald Explorer group. If you want to join me, you're very welcome. 8 o'clock on the Bald Explorer's YouTube channel. But for now, on the Vobes Show channel, this nonsense is over. It's all done. Thank you for watching. It's been great fun. I've enjoyed your company. But I must now say arrivederci, goodbye, and thanks for all the fish. Ta-ta! Bye.